Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I am Coach DeQuesta Dean from the Evolving Woman platform. Through the Evolving Woman platform, I support the modern woman through every season or every transition of her life. I'm super excited to be here this morning to have this conversation with the amazing menopause coach, Patrice Lockhart. I want to tell you why this is so exciting for me. Because back when I was a little girl growing up and the elderly women were going through the change, the only thing you recognized as a sign of the change was their irritability. They could have some mood swings. But I've been learning because I am now perimenopausal. I've been learning that there are so many symptoms that relate to menopause, and these symptoms can start as early as 35. The transition does not happen overnight, it actually takes years for us to go from our most reproductive years to the time that we are no longer fertile or able to reproduce. Right now, the most exciting part of my journey is not having a menstrual period. And that is only possible because I had a partial hysterectomy due to some medical challenges last year, which means that since it's partial, I'm still going through the process of menopause until I come fully into menopause. And so this morning, menopause coach Patrice Lockhart is here to talk to us about how menopause impacts women in the workplace, what women in the workplace can do to navigate menopause symptoms, and also what organizations, managers, and supervisors can do to support women who are going through the change. And so, please help me welcome this morning. Say a hi in the comment to our menopause coach, Patrice Lockhart, as she joins us. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning, DeQuesta. It is so good to be here. Thank you for having me.
It is a privilege and a pleasure to have you on this show this morning
Yes,
talking about all things menopause. Patrice,
thank you.
tell us what you do before we get into our conversation. Tell us a bit about you and what you do.
My name is Patrice Lockhart. I am a menopause coach. I provide guidance, support, information, and tools to help women navigate their menopausal journey, as well as I work along with organizations to help employers understand that the health and safety of their employees also include support and services for menopausal women. In a nutshell, that's what I do, and I provide the training and the support needed.
Awesome, Patrice. And it is so absolutely needed. Women need the support. And it seems as
Yes.
if menopause has this tabooness associated with it. We don't talk about it a lot. Much like cancer, much like the cancer journey, women
Yeah.
are very reluctant to share their journey with menopause. And so there's a Facebook user saying this morning, hi, great awakening to you all. Thank you so much for being here today. And so, yes, Patrice, this taboo subject of menopause needs a lot of attention, particularly to the working woman who is going into work every day, having to navigate so much, not just her work, but her family, and then the transition to through the process to get us into
Yes.
menopause.
Mhm.
So why do you think women find it so difficult to talk about menopause generally and then specifically to their bosses at work?
Women find it difficult to talk about menopause because it's such a personal and private journey. It also has a number of symptoms that are embarrassing. Um, a lot of women, even though they may not talk about it, they deal with urinary leakages. Some deal with urinary um, incontinence, where they're not able to hold the urine, the hot flashes, all of these things that they find embarrassing to talk about. And they are embarrassed to talk to their bosses, especially. And another thing about menopause is it's so, there's not much known about it. When we don't know about something, it's the great mystery, it's the great unknown. And anything that's being said about menopause, you notice the little jokes. She's in a personal summer. She's in her, oh, she's having one of those things. So it's not something that's spoken about in a positive light. It's made fun of, etc. And then women don't want to talk to their bosses about it because they're not sure their boss is going to understand what they are going through. Um, a lot of them, their symptoms are embarrassing. And there is a list, there's about 35, going about 35 to 34, 35 to 45 symptoms that women deal with. And dealing, including loss of libido. And that alone creates not only emotional challenges, but marital challenges, relational challenges. They feel as though their managers, they won't talk to their bosses because they feel as though they don't know their managers well, or they don't trust sharing that kind of personal information. Another thing is they don't feel as though their managers or bosses might not be sympathetic, or they might not be taken seriously. I know when I was in the corporate world was when I started my perimenopause journey. And I have shared with you before that because I was in an environment with all male in the corporate environment, and then there were a lot of foreigners, it was difficult as a female to go to a male boss to tell him what was going on with me. On top of that, I didn't even understand what was going on with me. And it wasn't until what made me force me to speak to my boss was that we had a meeting. During that time, I was dealing with sleeplessness. And when you have to show up on the job every day and perform, whether you're sick, whether the children need stuff or not, you have to make it happen in the corporate world. It doesn't matter. You just have to keep showing up in the home, showing up on the job. And this, because I was dealing with insomnia, I just wasn't sleeping. And I share where I had a period where for one whole year I wasn't sleeping. Then I went into 6 weeks with under an hour of sleeping. And by this time, my brain wasn't getting what it needed during the 4 hours of sleep, the hormones that it normally produces. And by this time, I was so wired. Then I went into day, then night, day, then night, day, then night, with no sleep. And I still had to show up on the job dealing with these man bosses and these men. They don't know anything about menopause. And it wasn't until we were having a corporate meeting. My boss was in the front of the room and I was in the back. And he was at the front and he saw me sleeping. And so he said, in front of everybody, Patrice, stop sleeping. When he did that, it was humiliating. Everyone in the room turned around, and we had everybody in the room, every nationality in the room. This was a big corporate meeting. And obviously, he was frustrated with me at the time. And it was humiliating, honestly humiliating. It was only then that I then went to my boss and I explained to him that I was dealing with some issues and I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't sleeping, um, and because I wasn't sleeping, it caused me not to focus and concentrate and all of the things that came along with the lack of sleep. And I had to talk to him, and only in speaking to him, he understood because his wife was going through the same thing. She was dealing with anxiety, and that's what saved me and my job at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
As I listen to your story, there are just so many pieces of it that jump out at me. First and foremost, one is the workplace, at least here in the Bahamas, it's just predominantly female. And, we have a lot of women in leadership. And with those women being in leadership, one would think that it would be easier to have a conversation with them regarding the challenges that you're facing as it relates to the changes, the natural changes that are going on inside of your body. And so we need women bosses to be more empathetic and to have an open mind and to also explore and ask questions of those employees who are reluctant to come forward themselves and say, this is what I'm going through. Because to the woman who has urinary incontinence, that is a super personal experience. They may even be wearing adult diapers,
Diapers,
right?
yes. This
Because
is
they
a
don't want
real
to.
scenario.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you may have the woman who is having those hot flashes. I have them during the day. I could be sitting in air condition and all of a sudden I'm like, you're all hot, but I'm the only person. So yes, I've heard jokes about it being a personal summer.
Mhm.
However, like it doesn't feel good for someone to
Mhm.
make a joke out of an experience that's tormenting you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then we also need men who seem to want all of this control over female bodies in the first instance,
Mhm.
to actually be mindful of the fact that our roles as women, yes, we are homemakers, but when we are corporate in the corporate world, there's so many components that make us successful as women. And just
Yes.
having an emotionally intelligent boss, whether that's male or female, can really help to increase our productivity. So I'm so sorry that
Excellent.
you had that experience.
Mm.
At the same time, I'm so grateful that you're brave enough to share your experience and help women understand that that sleeplessness could be attached to menopause. The
Yeah.
anxiety that you feel could be attached to
Yes.
your menopause,
It let
right?
me correct it. It's not, it could be, it
Yes,
is. Because
yes.
also one of the two things you touched on I really want to talk on about the females. I have a client right now, and again, as women in the workplace, we need to band together. I have a client now, she is on sick leave. She has a female boss. A female boss has no children, does not understand this stage. So she has told her, I don't care what your problem is. You just show up, you just do your job. This woman went through so much anxiety that she said when her boss, she had a breakdown at work. When her boss would be at her all the time, she said she would grab a chair and she would just close her eyes. And she said she would just sit there and the tears would roll and she would just want the boss to stop. She would like taunt her. And she said she needed, because, we know is when we're in these positions, we need our jobs. So much is attached to it. And there was a time when um, she told her workplace what was going on with her. They continued until she had a breakdown at work. She said and what happens is the stress that we experience on the job, stress triggers menopause. She said her heart palpitations started like crazy. She started sweating like crazy. Everything started, and she started trembling. She uncontrollably, she started trembling, and she had a meltdown. And one of the colleagues, ambulance had to come, the whole 9 yards. And one of the colleagues started screaming at them when they were taking her away. She told you she had a hormonal imbalance. Y'all wouldn't listen. Y'all wouldn't stop. And literally, this is the kind of thing that happens in the workplace. Unfortunately, her boss was a female boss. She didn't understand, as well as she was working with a lot of men. This is real. This is happening in our country, in our environments. But nobody was believing her. They were saying, oh, she always has a problem. Something's always wrong with her. She ended up having to have a hysterectomy. And when you saw what her womb looks like, it is crazy. But
Wow.
yes, it is real. Even the women in the workplace,
Yes,
because they don't understand the
yes.
experience.
I see
I-
I see one of our viewers is actually saying that many women don't understand because the experience with it may be seamless. And I'd like to stretch that comment just a little
yes,
further and say that they don't understand that their own symptoms that they are experiencing are
excellent.
connected to menopause because
That's
like
it.
you said, we don't focus on the journey the woman goes through from being reproductive to not being reproductive, which
Yes.
encompasses so much. So I just want to thank that Facebook user for her comment. As you're watching today's program, type in chat for me, please. Type in the comment section if you believe women need more support in the workplace as it relates to menopause. Do women need more support? Now, Patrice, as we're talking and as you were talking about these bosses and you share the experience of your client, which was again another traumatic experience because you already humiliated by the people around you who minimize what you're experiencing. And
Yes.
secondly, you're having these symptoms, you're having this anxiety, and now it's heightened because an ambulance has to come and get you. And your coworkers on the side saying,
Everybody has to
"Oh, you're
see.
right." So now
Yes.
you have all of this. Tell me then, what are some of the tools that business organizations can put in place, because we spend working women spend the vast amount of their time 8 to 9 waking hours at their business
At the
establishment,
workplace, yes.
right? So what can business establishments do to have their management team be more sensitive to mature women as they begin to navigate the menopause process?
First of all, awareness needs to happen. As a menopause coach, one of the things I do is I go into the workplace and I have a training called a seminar called Menopause in the Workplace. And what it does is that it opens up the environment where not just the managers, but everyone begins to understand menopause and the changes because we have 35 to 45 symptoms, which includes anxiety and depression and loss of focus and concentration and memory fog. And these women have to maneuver in the workplace. We have accountants who have to deal with memory fog, lack of concentration, and it's not their fault. It's a physiological um, symptom. It's a symptom that's physiological, and because our brain and is not no longer getting the estrogen, or there's an estrogen decline in that area, the neurotransmitters to that part of the brain that's responsible for memory, that part of the brain that's responsible for mood, the neurotransmitters are not getting what they're used to through the estrogen. So there is it creates a problem with many women psychologically and emotionally. I deal with many women who deal with anxiety and depression, and they don't understand why it's going on. They've been happy all their lives. Everything's good. They're working on their jobs. They're paying their mortgages. They are climbing up the corporate ladder, and now this happens. And what I do when I come in is, one, I help managers, I help HR personnel and anyone who has staff under them to understand menopause and how it affects productivity, how it affects the bottom line, and how it affects the environment. And then I also offer training specifically to these leaders where I train them how to have conversations with menopausal women, because a lot of times when this starts with women, they don't even know what's going on. So the leaders need to be able to identify it, and there need to be certain policies in place. For example, when I wasn't sleeping, when I was getting an hour and under an hour of sleep, I still had to show up 8 o'clock for a manager's meeting every morning when I was in the hospitality industry. Then when I was in the other industry, I still had to show up early every morning. And flexible time would be something that managers can look at, or owners can look at, when it comes to menopausal women. There are women who are dealing with the hot flashes. Um, Temperature control is a big issue. There are women who need to be near a bathroom. And if they need to run to a bathroom every second, They don't need people making fun of them. There are so many things that I present, and there's um, a manual I have produced that, well, I'm working with another organization that helps in the workplace, all of these things for productivity, for a cohesive environment, for the bottom line to be that you don't, what needs to happen is not interrupted.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Patrice. Tara Hall, Coach Tara is saying that it's great information. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for being
Tara.
here, Tara. Gandhi is saying that many insomnia is real in perimenopause and in menopause. And she's also saying that women can use more support, but women also need to ensure that that support is not abused. And that is so right,
That's
because
it.
you can have this flexibility, but if you misuse it, you're now taking the opportunity away from other women
Other
to
women,
benefit from
yes,
it. So it must not be a selfish approach when
yes,
these sorts of benefits are extended to you,
yes.
to have those situations abused. Now, Patrice, I just want to talk about, like, I did not have any idea that menopause impacted the skin. Actually, when you and I were talking about it, and you came and you were like, "Oh, Duquesa, like try this recapture oil.
Yes,
It's gonna help your skin." I had all these fine wrinkles here. I hated to come on live because my skin would like double up and it would have all these lines under here
yes.
and all of these dark spots all over my face. And I was like, "Girl, my daddy have freckles." Like, this is genetic. This is just, And I
Mhm.
use the recapture. I think I've been using it for a month now. I've been using it once a day, but I think that I'm going to start using it twice a day
Twice. Mhm.
because I did not recognize the value of moisture in the menopausal journey and how it helps your skin to be so
Yeah.
firm and
Supple. Yes, your skin does look very good.
listen,
Very
I can
supple.
walk on without makeup. Hey.
Yes.
Yes, because of the moisture in the recapture. I was skeptical. I'm not going to lie. I was
Hmm.
skeptical because I'm like, it's a normal part of aging. Your skin just starts to sag. You have these wrinkles. And I know people say, oh, it's vain that you pay attention to those sorts of things. But girl, call me vain. I have to be cute.
Okay.
But just to talk about the confidence boost that you get from uh, nourishing your body first and
Yeah.
foremost, because I know that you also spoke to me the other night. I called you and I was like, "Girl, Patrice, I feel so sorry for my husband tonight." I was like, "The girl was just in a mood swing of this world."
Yes. That
And you were like,
estrogen
"Oh, the
decline.
pressure, do this, do that, and do the next," right? So just by implementing the strategies with the smoothie, getting more of that estrogen in my body, like these sorts of things really help to calm me down, but also having a conversation with my husband so he understands that when
Excellent.
certain
Yes.
things happen, please attach it to my journey through menopause and be patient with
Education.
me. So tell
Yes.
us now, tell us about skincare, tell us about nourishment and the things that we need to focus on. And we can only probably talk about one or two things because our time is drawing near that
Yeah.
women can do to help them with some of those symptoms.
First of all, education is so important. When when you are going through menopause, beginning with the first stage, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, it's your estrogen decline that has so much to do with everything. It is amazing the function that estrogen plays in the body. Estrogen is responsible for when we don't, when we begin to, estrogen begin to decline, we deal with the skin sagging, the wrinkles. We begin to age because estrogen works well with the collagen that makes that keeps the fat under the skin to keep you looking young, and not only young, but just to keep you looking well. Um, Unfortunately, when that decline happens, we begin to deal with dry skin again, like I talked about the wrinkles. We get all those deep lines here, here under the eye, even under the neck. And what women need to understand is, I know we take it as a part of the of life, but your food has a lot to do with it, your lifestyle, what you take in, and you can help yourself. And when you understand that you can replenish the body because you are no longer producing the amount of estrogen, and it's like math, it's like a formula. If I've lost today $50, and I'm going to put it in simple terms, $50 worth of estrogen, then today I need to put in $50 worth of estrogen so that I can keep on going. It's very much like the gas in the car. You want the car to go, put gas in the car. And I often tell some of my female clients, you can't expect now you lost $50 worth of estrogen to put in $2 or $5 worth of estrogen. No, it doesn't work like that. And so what you are doing when you are using the recapture oil is that you're nourishing your skin. You're putting back in the collagen that's needed. You are nourishing where those fine lines, and we both know there are. I have a number of persons who talk about how much the recapture oil works. We have photos where we see before and after where they had so many lines and the lines have been drastically reduced. I have someone doing on a 3-month journey, and I'm about to get 2 months, her second month of photos, and her lines and everything are being diminished and reduced. I've seen women with their necks. Honestly, I too had that issue, and it's like, Lord, you know, I can't deal with the wrinkly necks, and I have been using my recapture oil to moisturize my skin, to nourish my skin. And when you give the body what it needs, you create that environment. The body naturally knows what to do. So one of the things I coach women in is nutrition. You can put in phytoestrogens in your body every day. Literally, you can load up every day through foods. You can load up with your omega 3, 6, and 9 every day through foods. You can load up with your collagen. Put collagen in your body. I make a smoothie of collagen. I use 1.5 cups of organic soy milk, 1.5 cup of organic almond milk, a teaspoon of chia, a teaspoon a chia seed, a teaspoon of flaxseed, a handful of almonds, a handful of walnuts, and I blend that. And then I put 1 or 2 scoops of my collagen. Now I take the chocolate collagen. I provide that, the chocolate collagen, because I love chocolate. And listen here, it tastes like ice cream, but listen here, those of you who are dealing with vaginal dryness, the hot flashes, when you put, I have testimonies. It works. When you give the body what it needs, it naturally goes back to functioning like it does. And so again, lifestyle is big when it comes to how you can help yourself with menopause.
Yes, yes, girl. Listen, call me because I need to come for that. Just how you described that and chocolate at that, I
Listen
really need
here.
to come over and get some of that. Actually, I'm gonna just listen to the replay and
Yeah,
I'm gonna grab the. I have most of those ingredients here at the house,
yeah.
so I'm gonna test
That
out.
drink is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Every ingredient I put together so that it functions to take care of a need in a
Yes.
menopausal woman.
Yes. And I like the fact that you brought up nutrition because what I've found personally in my journey is that eliminating animal fat has been a major source of help in my menopause journey, as well as eating more of those hearty green vegetables. I eat a lot of broccoli,
Correct.
I use a lot of kale.
Excellent.
Um,
Phytoestrogens.
Yes, I'm
Mhm.
also doing a lot of balanced bowls with it's like big vegetables, but not the
Excellent.
non-starchy kind to just give my body what my body is losing, and that has been
Excellent.
really amazing for me in my journey. I was working for my husband the other day. I have multiple jobs. And as I was transporting a lady, she said to me, her daughter was in the back seat, and her daughter was like, "How old are you?" So her mom is like, "Well, you never ask a lady her age." And I said, "Young lady, I am 50." So she said, "You're 50?" I said, "Well, I'm 6 months away from it." So her mom was like, "Oh my gosh, you look fabulous," right?
Yes.
And it really made me feel good because you remember back in the day, 50 was that
Old
age.
and wrinkly,
Yes.
and yes. I am 54.
So
And listen
nutrition.
here,
Yes,
you
that's
tell
what
me
I'm
I old
saying.
and I am offended. When my daughter and my son make certain comments, it's like, excuse you, excuse
Thank
you,
you. Thank
who's
you.
old?
So aging I think it was Ronnie Butler who sang the song that age is nothing but a
Nothing but a
number.
number. Yes,
Yes, and so if we were to take care of ourselves and really provide ourselves with the proper nutrition, the proper movement and exercise, because I notice in your community, you also talking about how important it is to be active and not lead a sedentary lifestyle.
that
And
is
so as we
also
wrap up our
important.
conversation, Patrice, because I know, we only had a limited amount of time
Yes,
this morning, can you tell us about your Facebook community where women can come over and join and what they will find in that community?
okay. I host a group, a private Facebook group, and it's called Menopause Survival Care. And I mentor women through their menopausal journey. And it does not cost. So if anybody wishes to join, you want to know more about menopause, you need help going through your menopausal journey. Every day I post, and what I do, I believe in education. Education, education. The more we are educated about what's going on, the more we are tooled and equipped to help ourselves. So in that group each day I post, but I post nuggets, bite-sized pieces of information that women can bite into. We can talk about, women share their experience, women ask questions, etc. So any woman wishing to join, you are free to join. It's called Menopause Survival Care. It's on Facebook. You can request to join and I will let you in. And if you are looking for a menopause coach, if you need guidance, I offer the service as a menopause coach. You can reach me via this platform. You can, let me give you my personal Gmail, Patrice, Patrice. Stubbs, @gmail.com, or I can be reached by WhatsApp phone 1242-439-3242, and we can communicate at that point, and we'll connect.
Yes, and I'll be sure to put all of those contact details under in the comment section of this live. Patrice, I want to take the opportunity to thank you personally as my menopause coach. I want to tell you that you've made a tremendous difference in my life.
I'm
I've,
so
I've
glad.
never had so much ginger and turmeric and echinacea Gargano recapture.
Yeah,
And just when I call with the challenge, and you're able to say, okay, Dequesa, make your day full of this type of meal, so
yes.
that you can replenish. I just want you to know how valuable that is, and
Um,
what I give you in return as a payment, like, is really nowhere in comparison to the value that I get
mm,
from the support as a menopause coach, just going through and transitioning in this journey. I
mm,
also want to let you know that by extension, you've been a major support to my husband. I know that one of the
mm.
things that you like to do is also talk to men and help
Yes.
them to understand. And when you do that, most of them will be like, "Oh, that's what's going on with her."
Yeah. Yes.
And if there are any men out there and you're watching and your female, your wife, your partner is having some challenges, as it relates to, you don't know what, because you don't know what she's going through. If she's
Yes.
irritable, Stacia, thank you so much. If she's irritable, if she has a low sex drive, if you're experiencing pain in your sexual encounter, if
Yes.
she's having hot flashes, like whatever she's experiencing,
Yeah.
and you're
Or
not
if one day
feel this,
she is sweet, the next day You don't know who she is.
Yes,
A
and she
man tell
has
me that's like,
anxiety. Yes,
yeah,
just reach out to Coach Patrice. She's
yeah,
a menopause coach for women, but I want you to know that she's also a support for men.
for men, yeah,
Men can have conversations with her about what they're going through in their relationships, and she can serve as your consultant to help you know how to respond. Now, obviously, she doesn't offer these services free, but I can tell you that her services are really affordable. She's not trying to become a multimillionaire from this business,
no,
but
I
instead,
want
she's
to
really
help.
trying to help women and men navigate menopause. And so, Shelly, thank you. Shelly is saying that this information is so powerful. I literally thought I was finished, but at 60, almost 10 years without a menstrual cycle, I feel am still going through it.
Yes,
Shelly
you
says,
are.
"Ooh,
And
I feel."
because, if I can just say this, that's another myth with postmenopausal women. Postmenopausal women, your estrogen has stopped. So more than anything, postmenopausal women really need to put a number of practices in place, because that's why we have so much cardiovascular issues, bone issues, dementia issues, Alzheimer's, because of the connection with um, the estrogen. And see, that's a brain fog just now.
Yes. And
I
so,
have the
listen, it's Patrice, it's been a pleasure having this conversation with you this morning, just bringing a little bit of information to women. The Evolving Woman is all about supporting women, the modern woman through every transition and every season of
yes,
her life. And so we'll be back again at another time talking more about menopause and the journey to becoming non-productive, but also
yes,
that once you've gotten past that, at the end of the journey, then what do we do to live vibrant, happy, successful lives by incorporating great nutrition and incorporating great skincare and self-care routines in our lives as well. Shelly is
yes,
saying that she really needs to talk to you. So Shelly,
yes,
reach out. I think I sent you the number, but if not, I'll make sure that you get it.
yes.
Patrice, again, thank you very much to our watching audience. Thank you so very much for taking some
It's
time out of your
been a
schedule.
pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. And so, Patrice, I'll leave it to you to wrap it up for our guests.
In a nutshell, I just want to say to women, do not take your menopausal journey lightly. Culturally, that's what we have been doing, and that's why we manifest so many sicknesses and issues. 90% of women enter menopause unaware, unprepared, and untooled to deal with experiences that they will have physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And I am here to change that narrative. There are things that you can do. There are protocols that you can put in place to improve the quality of life that you experience going through menopause. When we compare women here in the West and women in the East, there is a difference. And my services are here to women. Again, just give me a call, 1-242-439-3242. I offer the services and I work with women through the menopausal journey, whether the impact is psychological, whether the impact is emotional, whether the impact is physical. There is help. You don't just have to live with it. But I'm learning that women are having a hard time investing in themselves at this time, but you are worth it. I wish everyone well.
Absolutely. Guys, Patrice, stay behind with me, please. Guys, thank you so much again for tuning in this morning. Make sure that you join that private Facebook community on Facebook. I'll put all of the details for how you can join the support group so that you can get your questions answered in a safe space
Yeah,
and
yes.
be able to improve the quality of your life as you transition through perimenopause and menopause. God bless you all today. Have a wonderful and productive day and week ahead. Take care.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for having me.